This is the Wrestling Old Head. You have entered the portal of pro wrestling.
What the world is watching.
We're going to break down the WrestleMania 41 card like a shotgun, and we're going to break this up into two parts. So this part right here is night one. So we're going to really focus on each match and the build-up, what I think is going to happen. We're going to go through the whole thing, and we're going to start with night one. So, I mean, there's so much going on. I mean, look at how many wrestlers the WWE has right now that are just sitting on the bench right now that are probably going to be on SmackDown or going to be on Raw. There's also the potential of all of these free agents that are in queue. Guys like Aleister Black, guys like Miro, aka Rusev, who could be making his return as well. Both of those guys could be making their return. You got Jeff Cobb that has been rumored to have signed with the WWE that could be showing up as well. All of the Fatus that are just sitting around waiting, who could show up at any time. You've got Hikuleo that could be showing up. So much going on. I mean, you got the final boss sitting there in a New Japan t-shirt. What does that mean? Could it just be his fashion choice, or could there be on the horizon a New Japan WWE partnership? So there's a lot of news going into WrestleMania, and there have been a ton of people that I've noticed on social media that are not too excited about this WrestleMania 41 card. And for those that aren't, you gotta remember, recency biased here, guys. Remember, WrestleMania 40, everything was about Cody finishing the story. Remember, in January, we thought we were going to get The Rock and Roman Reigns. Then there was just this whole shuffle of the deck card, and we ended up getting Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. The rest of the card didn't, for both nights, there wasn't a whole lot of buildup, okay? A lot of people forget about that. I mean, Bayley and Io Sky didn't have the best build-up. Hell, Jimmy Uso and Jey Uso, I wasn't like clamoring for that match. I thought it was going to be like Ryu and Ken. I thought they were going to, reprise the Shawn Michaels Ric Flair match with Jey Uso playing Shawn Michaels in tears, saying like, "I'm sorry, I love you," and super kicking Jimmy Uso for the 1, 2, 3. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of excitement for the entire card. Like, I think that somehow everybody got in their mind that like each match was supposed to have like epic build up and all that. No, man. I mean, I think what happens is we get our expectations when Paul Levesque gives us a little bit of what we want, right? And so then we expect him to give us everything we want. And our expectations go up. I think for this WrestleMania, I don't think it's going to be like WrestleMania 4. I don't think it's going to be as bad as WrestleMania 9, which just had a documentary, 2-hour documentary that was posted about that whole backstage atmosphere for WrestleMania 9. I don't think it's going to be that bad. I don't think it's going to be, I think it could surprise us, like a WrestleMania 31 or a WrestleMania 38 or something like that. I don't think it's going to necessarily be a letdown. I think that their matches aren't as bad as people are making them out to be, and there is some buildup. I mean, there's not a lot of buildup, but what do you expect them to do? It's like they throw the Raw tag title matches on WrestleMania because they to their credit, they know they haven't been that good with them. But we'll get into that. Let's break down the card like a shotgun. So for night one, speaking of the Raw tag team titles, the War Raiders defend against the New Day. Now, here's the thing with that. As I was saying before, SmackDown tag team scene was kind of on fire. They were kind of in reset mode. And every tag team that they were building up had a chance to either hold the tag titles or at least get a shot at the tag titles. On the Raw side, however, there wasn't a whole lot of build. The War Raiders had them. They disappeared for 3 or 4 weeks. Not a whole lot of TV time for these guys. And the New Day, once they became the Boo Day, as I affectionately call those guys, when they, sent Big E to the back in tears, I thought they were due for a tag title match. I thought they were due for a tag title run. And we just never got it. And now we're getting it, And so here's the thing, like, putting them on the WrestleMania card, it could be that momentum. It could be that thing that ignites a new excitement in the Raw tag division. So you got to give them credit for at least saying, like, look, we haven't been doing a good job building up this tag division. Let's start at the granddaddy of them all, night one of WrestleMania. Now, aside from a few backstage vignettes and promos, there hasn't been a whole lot of build. So it's really hard to gauge who's going to win here. But I have to say that if you're looking at this card and you're looking at, like, kind of like the story implications of WrestleMania 41, like, you gotta understand, SummerSlam is the first ever 2-night SummerSlam. They're going to stack the heck out of that. WrestleMania is happening later in the year than normal, about 2 weeks later than normal. So this isn't like the end of a story. You can't go a one-to-one comparison with WrestleMania 40. This can be the bridge to get us to SummerSlam, to get us to other stories that are around. I don't think you're going to see a lot of stories end necessarily as rev up, hit another gear, or even start. So for that reason, and the reason why I say all that is because I believe that we need a big a defibrillator on the tag division for Raw. And I think this is going to be that last pump that gets the heart beating again for that division. So for that, I'm going to go with the New Day. I think the New Day wins. I think the New Day win the tag titles. I was tossing up a couple of fantasy booking ideas in my head, fantasy cooking, the idea of Big E introducing the War Raiders, coming out and even helping them. I even thought in my head Tony Hinchcliffe showing up with the New Day would be hilarious. For those that know, I'm not going to really get into it. This isn't that type of video, but Tony Hinchcliffe has been very controversial for a lot of the things that he said, a lot of jokes that didn't go over well, and he's really positioned himself in unflattering light. And he's also gotten, reamed for really just not being the best when it comes to the guest commentator position he had and whatnot. So him showing up with the New Day at WrestleMania would be ideal, in my opinion. Ultra heel heat for that. So, and it would be a good moment for Tony Hinchcliffe, who's a lifelong professional wrestling fan. I think he's like my age or whatever. He's been a wrestling fan for a long time. So it would be a good moment for him. I think it would be a good moment as far as like character build and everything for the New Day. I would like to see Big E involved in this somehow, but I understand his limitations and whatnot. I do see that they have been teasing him, so him showing up isn't going to be a shocker for me. But I'm still going to go with New Day on this. I think the New Day win. And like I said, they ignite a new spark in the tag division. Now, in a singles match, El Grande Americano goes against Rey Mysterio here. Now, this one's tough because, the basic wrestling math had El Grande Americano standing tall on Raw. However, if they're going to keep this going, and I feel like eventually what we get to is a mask versus mask match. I feel like that's what we got to get to. So I for some reason, I think El Grande wins. I don't know why. And that's two heels or two heel groups. That's New Day winning, that they're heels, and then El Grande Americana, he's a heel. I know that, but there's something about it, like, to continue the story, you don't give Rey Mysterio Jr. the win here, and if you do eventually get to the point where it's a mask versus mask match, and Rey has to unmask him to reveal that it's Chad Gable, then I don't know if you get to that by pinning him at WrestleMania. So I feel like there's going to be some fuckery here, and I would actually go with El Grande Americano winning by interference from Chad Gable. That's how much fuckery I think is going on. I think that we get a moment where El Grande goes under the ring and then gets out from under the ring, and Rey Mysterio Jr. is going for the 619, and Chad Gable hits him. And everybody's like, what? And then Chad Gable goes back under the ring, and somehow El Grande Americano goes back under the ring. Something like that. I can see that going on here. So I am going to go with El Grande Americano. Just because I want to see some fuckery. In a singles match, a grudge match, Naomi, proceed with caution, battles Jade Cargill. This, I think, is going to be a situation where we might see a no contest because both could benefit from a win here. Both actually be okay for losses. Like if Jade Cargill lost because Naomi did some fuckery, I don't think there's a problem with that. I do think that we get, spoiler alert, I think we get Jade Cargill winning. But I wouldn't be surprised if this match gets thrown out just due to the fighting, just due to the animosity between Jade Cargill and Naomi. I believe that we could see a no contest, and I think that'd be fine. But I'm going to go with Jade Cargill as the winner here. I think somehow there can be a continuation. But, I feel like they could fight all the way to the back, and Jade could slam her through a car and leave her laying as a little bit of revenge. And then we don't see Naomi for a while, and then she comes back and exacts revenge. But I think that's the way we're kind of building this story, is Jade Cargill getting her revenge, putting her through a car, something like that. And this is a singles match, so it could get thrown out, and then they brawl all the way to the back, and then that's how we end it. I mean, it could be something like that. But, I'm going to go with Jade Cargill for now. For the WWE United States Championship, L.A. Knight, defends against Jacob Fatu. Jacob Fatu loses in this one. I think what we're setting up is Solo, who's been getting involved in Jacob Fatu's opportunities to really make a name for himself, to win championship gold, to be a leader, to be a team captain, to be that guy. Solo seems to interject himself and cost Jacob Fatu his opportunity. This is evidently we're leading to this buildup of a breakup between Jacob and Solo, and we're doing it very, very slowly. I don't mind that. LA Knight just won the United States Championship back. I think there's more for him as the champion. It's Jacob's turn, but not yet. Jacob's moment will come. It looks like we're going to go for the face turn. Looks like we're going to get the crowd to get behind him because he's mega over. I thought they were going to go with a Solo face turn. That seems to be a little insurmountable given how he's still kind of around and annoying. And I mean that with all due respect because I like Solo Sikoa, but I'm speaking more so as his character. So I believe LA Knight gets the win here due to Solo interfering. And then we might even see a breakup, maybe even a push, a headbutt, or even a splash. Tiffany Stratton defends her women's championship against Charlotte Flair. This is so interesting to me. I want to say Tiffany Stratton gets the win here. Just the way that the story has been built up. Tiffany overcoming the odds, the nerves, the jitters, and beating Charlotte Flair in a WrestleMania moment makes a lot of sense. I've gone on record as saying that her character, the way her character is, I'm not buying her as a full-on face, as a good guy, as a good one. And Charlotte Flair, they love to hate her. So, a part of me wants to go with Charlotte Flair here. But I think that's, I don't know. It's tough. It really is tough. I want to say Charlotte Flair. I'm actually going to say Tiffany Stratton. But it would not shock me if Charlotte Flair wins here. But I think they're really getting the machine behind Tiffany Stratton. And I've gone on record in previous videos of talking about the machine being LFG and how they need someone like Tiffany Stratton to show these guys coming in. You can be on that level of Tiff. You can have Tiffy time. You can be in Tiffy's place. You can make it to WrestleMania in a marquee match if you keep this up or if you follow our program. So because of that, I feel like Tiffany Stratton winning, it might And Charlotte's come in very nonchalant, very seemingly bored, like it just seems like, she came in, she won Royal Rumble handedly, and now going into WrestleMania, it's like if she wins, it's like it kind of like renders that division like kind of useless unless there's some fuckery, So that's why I'm going to go with Tiffany Stratton. But again, if they find some way to make Charlotte win the match, I mean, it wouldn't shock me at all. In a singles match for the World Heavyweight Championship, Jey Uso challenges Gunther, going 0-3. I think he's already 0-3, so it'd be like 0-4. I mean, Jey Uso's winning this. I don't have to go into the whole story. This is one of the most talked about matches at WrestleMania, good or bad. We know going in what the deal is. I believe Gunther is going to beat the living shit out of Jey Uso. I mean, this got to be a bloodbath, right? I mean, we've seen him smearing Jimmy Uso's blood all over his body, Gunther. I think that we see that with Jey. And I think that Michael Cole and Pat McAfee or whoever's doing commentary, I think they have a serious tone. And they're like, I think they need to stop this match. And I think Gunther gets him in a chokehold, and the blood is pouring down his face, and we're thinking he's going to give up. And I think he rallies. And I think he fights through it. And he wins. Ultimately, he wins. It's going to be a bloodbath, but I think that's how you get this, right? I mean, you get the crowd. The crowd already is emotionally invested in Jey Uso, but you got to get the killer in Gunther to really beat the living shit out of him, and Jey Uso to fight through all of that. It's the movie Bloodsport. If you guys have ever watched Bloodsport, Chong Li beats up Jean-Claude Van Damme's brother, best friend, and wears his headband on his leg, and Van Damme gets stuff thrown in his eyes when he battles this dude, and then he fights back to win and get that headband back. This is the story, and this is the way it should play out. Ultimate sympathy on Jey Uso, who fights back with blood in his eyes to win the match. That's how I see it going. Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, triple threat match. This is the main event of night one. The triple threat match, in my opinion, they're leaving a lot of material on the table. I mean, there's stuff that hasn't been said that would really turn this up a notch as far as the buildup goes, and they are choosing not to say it for whatever reason. I don't know what they have on the other side of this. Choosing not to go as personal as they can be, so as to not seem cliche, is maybe my understanding of why they're not doing that, and they're going with this pseudo love triangle between Paul Heyman. Hey man, nice shot. But I think like when you have two old lovers fighting over you, you leave them for a hot new thing. And Seth Rollins doesn't strike me as a hot new thing necessarily, but Braun Breaker would fit that criteria. So I don't know if we're going to get like the I'm leaving you for a hot new thing. I think CM Punk can be Sting in this scenario and get turned on, like get screwed over. I mean, I'm using a lot of these things that can be construed as innuendo when I'm talking about love triangles here. But what I'm trying to say is like CM Punk can be betrayed. Let's put it that way. Let's put it that way. CM Punk could be betrayed, because I think he's falling for this loyalty a little too hard, but he's also coming across like when I was talking about this in the build-up, like I almost felt like they should have gone in a different route in a way where CM Punk would be like, for old time's sake, man, and instead it seems like he's doing it to piss Roman Reigns off. It's almost like a jealousy thing. I didn't think they were going to go that route. I mean, it's hard to boo CM Punk, but he was getting booed a little bit when they mentioned him on Monday, which is interesting to me, like why they would do that, why they would force fans to kind of pick sides here. And I understand, Roman Reigns is the face and Seth Rollins is kind of teetering on that edge there, but I don't know. I didn't think they would go this route. It's interesting that they're going this route. And it was also interesting that they revisited the chair spot. I thought they had closed the book on that rather well at WrestleMania 40 with Roman Reigns choosing to hit Seth Rollins with the chair to gain a measure of revenge for having that happen to him, only for that to cost him his reign, pun intended, as the WWE champion. I thought that was a fitting way to close that chapter. They reopened that chapter of that book in this book, this new book, with Seth Rollins hitting Roman Reigns again in the back with the chair. So I thought that was interesting too. I think it is far more likely that what we get is Paul Heyman accidentally or on purpose hitting either CM Punk or Roman Reigns, causing one of those two to lose, and then the story is whether or not he intentionally did that going forward. I think they're going to stretch it, is my point here. I don't think we see the end of this. I think this goes on longer. And considering that they have put so much emphasis on CM Punk being in his first WrestleMania match, I think it is only fitting that he loses, because that's the type of guy that CM Punk is. I don't think he's there to get the glory like that yet. And he's had some success in matches. He lost the cage match to Seth Rollins, but he won the cage match with Drew McIntyre, and he's had some other success as well. I think that what you get here is you get probably Roman Reigns winning, because he's gotten hit with the GTS and, he hasn't looked in the best light. I think you either get Roman or you get Seth. I don't know if you get CM Punk winning in this. I don't know if you need to get CM Punk necessarily into this as the winner. I think what you set up for is CM Punk feeling like he got screwed. That's what I think you get. And if I had to choose between Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns, the silence is deafening, right? I am going to go with, Seth Rollins. Okay. You can tell it's not my number one choice. My number one choice is Roman Reigns, but I'm going to switch it up a little bit and go with Seth Rollins just to kind of spice things up. It's exciting when you go for like, going for the underdog. It's exciting when you do that. So I'm going to go with that. So I got Seth Rollins win that. Either way you slice it, WrestleMania 41, night one, I think it's a great line. I mean, I'm looking at this lineup. It's not bad. And each match kind of tells its own story. I think what we're going to get is our expectations were so high for the buildup that we didn't get that. And now I think expectations are lowering. There's a lot of stories about WWE's overpricing of this big event, and how what you're going to get is a lot of casuals, because the diehards, the ones that work every day 9-to-5 jobs like myself, wouldn't be able to afford going to one night, let alone two nights. So I think you're going to get an interesting crowd. It is in Vegas. I don't know if they necessarily price themselves out of the game, but I think it's telling that, they had a record-breaking attendance record for a record gate or something like that. I think they made the most money out of this gate, and they're like 25,000 short of what they had last year. I think that's telling. So I wonder what's going to happen on the other side of this, and I even wonder how the crowd is going to be, because when you have I'm not trying to be a lead. I'm not trying to speak ill of the wealthy here, but casual fans that got money that just want to go because they want to be there, they're not necessarily interested in participating, if that makes sense. They're more interested in just showing everybody that they're there and mingling. Okay? So if that's the case, I wonder if we're going to see a lot of reactions, and reactions are a huge part of the success of certain matches. So I'm going to leave that out there as well. Is this crowd going to be participatory? Are they going to put their energy into enjoying each match, because last year at WrestleMania, there were a few moments where I don't know if the mic wasn't picking up the crowd or if the crowd just wasn't into it. They were into Sami Zayn and Gunther. They were into Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. They were into a few matches, but sometimes it was the silence was deafening. So I wonder how the crowd's going to react. It should be interesting. So this is my night one predictions. They're done and gone. Stay tuned because I'm going to be putting out night two a little bit later today. Look for that. And in the comments, let me know what your predictions are. But more importantly than that, let me know what you think of my predictions going forward. WrestleMania weekend is already upon us, and we're almost a year to the day that I started doing content creation, that the Wrestling Old Head popped into YouTube and started expanding the portal of pro wrestling. Can you believe it? Thank you. Thank you to everybody that's subscribed and everybody that's listening this long, even to this video. You guys are real ones, and I appreciate it. I wouldn't do this, I wouldn't do this without you guys, like seriously. And I appreciate the community that it has gotten, everybody that is interested in talking about pro wrestling with an old head like me. It makes me proud, makes me feel young again. So thank you guys, and as always, stay tuned for more.